The Girls Think Tank has been able to do a lot in a very short amount of time as a volunteer-only organization. And, you know, we really think that with widespread community participation and support, the sky really is the limit.
The Girls Think Tank are trying to figure out how to help people down here. And today they've come down with backpacks and socks and underwear and the things that people need.
5 years ago, a local group of friends got together for dinner, and it ended up forming a nonprofit to help the homeless. Girls Think Tank has been making a major impact on our homeless community here in San Diego, and you can help too, big, easy style. Noor, Kazmi, and Melanie Stewart are joining us this morning. Ladies, thank you so much for coming on to tell us about such a wonderful organization.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Well, Melanie, we're going to get to your story because you are somebody in our community who is homeless and homeless by choice. So we're going to hear about your journey and your adventure. And Noor, you guys, you're different than other organizations in San Diego, and tell us what helps you stand apart.
Well, we believe that solutions need to come from within, and so what we do in our advocacy group is really generate ideas from the people that we serve. For example, with our homeless community in our Basic Dignity campaign last year, the idea to get more restrooms and water was generated from the homeless themselves.
So you now go out and you hand out some backpacks, and we brought some of the wonderful materials that you have in them. And I know that's a different campaign, but how did that all come about?
Well, basically, it was sort of a two-part thing. We wanted to do something in terms of services, provide people with the things that they really need, especially during the winter when it does get cold here. But we also wanted a way to have our volunteers and us ourselves interact with the homeless and talk to them and figure out what exactly we need to do. So by giving them a backpack, we're also not just giving them what they need, you know, blankets, towels, things like that, but we're also engaging them and asking them, you know, we're here. What can we do to help you out on a broader scale?
Now, Melanie, you are homeless right now by choice. Tell us a little bit about your story on how you ended up this way.
Yes. I actually had money and decided that I wanted to take an oath of poverty. And so what I started doing was spending that money, redistributing it into the community, into the society, until I finally became homeless myself. And from that point, it became a spiritual walk for me, essentially. I wanted to find out what it was like to be in the shoes of somebody else. And suddenly a group of people that were at one time invisible to me suddenly became very visible because I was part of their community. And it's been an interesting experience for me. This has been the 5th year that I have been homeless. Now my objective is to take myself out of my homeless situation, to demonstrate and prove that it is possible, that there are many opportunities that are available to you, even in the worst situations, that you have to sort of look at things not from being good or bad or from a positive or a negative, but looking at everything as being the same as just an experience in life. And that's essentially what this has been for me.
A pretty incredible journey that you have chosen to take that I don't think a lot of us would do the same.
Well, I think that most people probably wouldn't do that, you know, as a goal or an objective, at least not in the real world. But there are a lot of people who take their own oaths and decide that they want to follow a religious path, and that's essentially what I've done.
All right, following your specific journey, just incredibly fascinating as you have been uniting with the Girls Think Tank. And so you guys collaborate and you share ideas from your perspective and you learn from each other, it sounds like.
Yes, definitely. And that's exactly what all of our projects are geared toward, is not just doing something on a small scale, but engaging and really, you know, working with the communities that we wish to serve.
The Clean Water campaign, I know that has been hugely successful, and now what we're focusing on is a fun party. So, and I know besides doing all the wonderful service projects, you guys like to have a good time. I mean, you got started by a dinner celebration with a couple of bottles of wine.
Definitely, and you know, our Big Easy Masquerade party is coming up on April 30th, and that's actually next Saturday, and it's going to be at a gorgeous home in La Jolla. I mean, we're going all out with this. You know, costume contest. It's going to have a poker tournament. It's going to be awesome.
Wonderful. Now, I know there are still tickets available, so you can go to your website, girlsthinktank.org, and buy some tickets. We got some cool, fun masks. So everybody is encouraged to dress up if you go.
Definitely, definitely.
Do you have your costume yet?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
And it will be there on the 30th.
Wonderful. Now, Melanie, what do you think are some of the misconceptions or preconceptions that people have about homeless here in San Diego that you would just like to bust and set the record straight about?
Well, I think one of probably the greatest stereotypes concerning the homeless population is that most of them have drug or alcohol issues or have mental health issues. And it's true that there are many people who do, but then you have to ask yourself why. And it's really basically what you have to look as more of the holistic picture about what's taking place in our society today, especially with economic crisis that we have encountered, that there are more and more people who are becoming homeless or sleeping in their vehicles or finding friends that they can stay with in order to avoid the stigma of homelessness. And I think that one of the greatest things that we can do is try to remove that stigma of being homeless, because it's just basically another economic situation. And as far as I'm concerned, it's basically a human rights issue as well. And I think that that's what we really need to focus on, is that we are dealing with people. And this is part of our humanity. And the best way to demonstrate that we are human, that we have tolerance and compassion towards others, is by helping them. And that's one thing that's really great about the Girls Think Tank, is that essentially they demonstrate that notion of human dignity. It's incorporated into what they do in one of their programs, and that's one reason why I was gravitated towards their programs.
Wonderful. I know that a lot of people have given out the backpacks and have told me that it's such an amazing experience, because you're not just giving out things that homeless folks might need, you're engaging in interaction and you're learning that we have far more things in common than we do that are different.
Right, exactly. Especially when you hear their stories, you know, like Melanie and some of the others who just fallen on hard times. I mean, they've had jobs, they've had everything, and then especially with the economic times as they are, you know, people it could happen to anybody. And that's what really we're learning too.
Wonderful. Girls Think Tank, a great organization to get involved with. Melanie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. Looking forward to a fun party on this weekend. So go to girlsthinktank.org or our website and we'll hook you up. Don't forget a cool mask, get all dressed up, and have a wonderful time. Thanks so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Good to have you on today.